Hey guys, if you work on things or you want to work on things but you don't have a workbench available or no space in your garage or your lift cart that you have is currently occupied with a broken snowblower that you don't want to take off, you always have your tailgate of your truck. Of course, you know, that requires that you own a truck. I have an old Craftsman lawnmower, really like a small chintzy, one of those push only, non-self drive, not even a bagging system on it, but it's really lightweight. It's really easy for kids to push. So if you want to teach your 10-year-old how to use a lawnmower and he has a hard time handling the bigger mower you have, even though it's self-propelled and all that stuff, give him a cheapo little push mower and, you know, teach him not to stick his feet into the blade, not to flip the mower over while it's running and all that kind of stuff, and then let them go to town. And I'm gonna take this little mower, put it on here, and we're gonna try to make it run as fast as we can. All right, let's do it. So here it is. This is a Murray 20-inch wide. I just looked at the serial number. I think this machine is actually 2012, I think. US made bricks in Stratton. I got it for free because it wasn't running anymore, and if you look at this, you kind of know why. The previous owner tried to cobble it together. Let's call it cobbling it together. We're going to take this all off. Now we're just going to establish if there's spark. So here we go. Let's take all this off. Looks like the linkages from the governor to the carburetor is still there. So this bolt wasn't original. So let's unhook all of it. And then let's see. Oh, there's a little bit of fuel and some water and dirt, but it doesn't look like any corrosion or anything. So let's unhook the spring here so we're not bending it completely out of shape. All right, there you go. Let's see if we can unhook the carburetor linkage. Let's take the air filter off. I have a replacement if we need to, or if we need one. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is crazy. That's all in the carburetor. I don't know. So now we're gonna, so there is a linkage coming from the governor that controls the RPM of the engine, and then a spring that goes over here just to pull against the governor to keep tension on it. And now I'm just going to try to, oh my goodness gracious. So there's the linkage, the spring is still on here, and now look into this carburetor. Can you see this? Lighting is not the best, but oh my goodness. All right, no problem, we can fix this. So now we're gonna make sure, this is literally the intake, here's a leaf. I'm gonna stick something in there, give this thing an air bath real quick. So my compressor finally managed to compress and be done with it for a while. I put a rag into the intake and also into the crankcase breather tube. So now I'm going to grab a can of starter fluid. I have already pulled a little dipstick out. We do have oil in it. It looks really clean, surprisingly. So carburetor was hanging off of one little screw and all was really dirty. But apparently oil was changed. So let's do this. Let's see if we can even... Alright, it's a runner. We just need to figure out what we're going to do with the intake here because there's a piece broken off. Let's focus on the carburetor and the tank. And the machine, we're just going to leave there. So here we go. I have a little bowl. I have this super cruddy carburetor. And we're going to immediately liberate the carburetor from the tank. I do think I have a rebuild kit for this. If not, we're gonna make it work somehow. I don't have carb cleaner. I usually just use brake parts cleaner or brake cleaner. Here's a little throttle thing. Doesn't have a choke. This particular model here has just a primer, which is still there and it's not broken yet. Those eventually get brittle and then you have to replace them. Okay, there are 4 screws here and it's all cruddy. Oh my god. Oh, here's another one. 5 screws. Back in the days, the older Brixton Stratton that had the same type of carburetor, they only had like 2 bolts or 3. And ooh, gasket still in place. Inside the carburetor is surprisingly clean. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can... I might not have a new gasket looking at it. Doesn't look like the ones that I have lying around. Here's some stuff breaking off. Let's just leave it in place. Lots of goop. That's literally, that one here is literally the float bowl. It doesn't have a float bowl and not a float per se. It's kind of a pulse carburetor. It has a little diaphragm fuel pump that delivers fuel from the tank into this little float bowl here. And from here the carburetor sucks it up through the jet, and everything that is in excess just flows back into the tank. So it's a really simple design, and they actually work surprisingly well. It's such an old design too. I mean, Brixton Stratton used to use these carburetors like for decades. Nowadays with EPA and all that, I guess they don't use them anymore. Alright, let's also dump out the fuel here since we're adding. Ooh, there's a lot of water in there. Ooh. Water is heavier than fuel, so the fuel will sit on top of the water. But overall, I mean, a couple leaves and a couple nasty little things. Inside the tank is actually really relatively clean. There were a couple floaties floating around. So here's a little spring. That is for the pulse diaphragm pump. Very simple. Intake, primer, crankcase breather. This is where the air filter sits, where it's supposed to be filtered. It looks terrible. Here's a little filter screen so it doesn't suck up any debris. So that's actually, and it's all plastic. There's a jet. Looks clean. I can't believe this. So we just got to get the exterior clean without contaminating too much of the interior. And a little bit more tank cleaning, and then we're already good to go, and I slap it back on there. So we get lucky. I have one more air filter. I'm just gonna replace it. You can oil those. I usually don't. It's a lawnmower, you know. Well, it looks good. The gasket is more or less clean and in good shape. Tap, 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 tap. There are two little gates, flaps that can open and close, and they do the pumping action. All right, carburetor goes back on. Which orientation? Oh yeah, that orientation, okay. So here, this is the fuel pickup out of the tank, and this is where the jet sucks up the fuel. Okay, looks good. Looking good. Here's an O-ring in here that goes over the intake tube. We'll see if we have enough engagement, so to speak. Don't forget there is a little spring here. Here's a spring that sits on this diaphragm. Diaphragm is in one piece. We're not gonna mess with it. All right, and now the 5 screws. They are all pretty grungy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only have 4. What did I do with the 5th? Huh? Guys, what did I do? What did I do? Oh, yeah. All right, let me just clean them off a little bit so we're not dropping any poo-poo in the tank. This is going to be for my 11-year-old. He has been talking about it. I wanted to fix it with him, but those guys are so busy with school and then my work schedule. I think I'm just going to get the carburetor ready, the lawnmower ready, and then he can start at least doing some mowing. He has a hard time with the self-propelled mower that has a bagger on it. All right, quick pause, need to blow my nose. So now you can see here the broken off intake tube here. But if we're lucky, let's see how this all goes together. Put the fuel cap on here. So let's see how this mounts. So one bolt for sure goes in here and one goes through the front. I think we still have enough tube. Okay. Now we just need to find 2 bolts that are the right length. One short one and one yay long. I'll get my box. So brought my box out.
Yeah, it seems to be working. So it's just a little alongside. It looks good, you know. Let's see. That's okay, I have one around then the same size, but we can do it. But it's all pieces. So we need to put a little power on. We need to engage. The engage here. Double engage. And that's the first. Then we'll stop. We engage on. Now we push up. And then engage. So we get a little bit. Also, we're starting. It's a little line again. Plastic or something. So that way we'll get the other one. Right, so we have one more that goes through. And one. Let's see. One small. Two small. And then. Okay. That's it. So let's see. Let's see. No problem. Some means for me, now it's amazing. Two. Let's see. Might go over. Please. Ah, there you go. Let's see how we get one. Smidge. Sure. One. There. No, much longer. Let's see. It's possible. Right, I'm going to take a word for it. I'll put things together. First one. Both of us. Alright, wait, now we're going to go here. Let's go first. Yes. I'm going to vacuum. Put it up. So, pretty good. So, lower down here. It's easy to see all the ones.
Yeah, the lighting is again not super great. Okay, so no, that's not good. The spring is in the way, so I put it on exactly the opposite. Better. So the spring has a longer end and a shorter end. The longer end needs to go towards the carburetor. And then the shorter end hooks into this metal bracket here. And now we can check if the governor has proper wiggle room here. Feels good. We could probably also put it in that hole over here. Yeah, that's better. I like it better. So here we go. Like I said, oil I checked. Let's check it again. The little dipstick here on the side. If it runs, I will later change the oil. Yeah, oil is good. Looks relatively clean. And just to show you guys, oh, the mail lady's coming. Hold on one second. Got a bunch of little packages. I don't know if you guys have heard, but I have actually 2 new YouTube channels. I want to declutter Heiko's Garage a little bit and don't mix genres and content too much. So one is going to be about the good old-fashioned wet shaving with a double-edged safety razor and all the products and all the stuff. And then the second one is Heiko's watches. So all the watch content that you have been able to find on Heiko's Garage is eventually going to migrate over to Heiko's watches. So anywho, let's focus on this puppy. Let's get it started. Cable still works. Cold start still works. Primer still works. Hello? Hello? Oh, they wanted to. switch works. On those carburetors, there's absolutely no adjustment, so you can't do anything. The only thing that you could potentially do is give the governor spring that we just installed a little bit more tension. You can also, if you don't want to mess with the spring, you can just grab that bracket and bend that outward a little bit, and that will increase the RPM. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So here I'll do handheld, take you with me. So as you can see, there's the spring. And if you grab this bracket and just bend it outward a little bit more, it will increase the RPM. So let's see if the RPM is higher. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll get a clamp, put it on the safety handle there. Don't do this, okay? It's for safety. The handle is for safety. If you put a clamp on it, it will not turn off. But it was increasing as I was pulling on it, so I'm giving it more tension against the governor. Runs pretty good. I mean, the nice thing about those little things is if they really rust through, it's not the big deal, you know. No bagger, side opening to throw out the clippings, that's pretty good. The wheels can easily be replaced. Most hardware stores carry a set of those. And the blade, it's not even dull, it's just cruddy. So I'll use it. I'll run it over my lawn and see what it does. Alright guys, thanks for hanging out, wrenching a little bit and mowing my lawn. Seems to be working pretty well. There's something clanging around in the recoil start. I will take that off and just clean it out. There's probably like a little pebble in there. And I will have to look for either a method to seal off the edge of the fuel tank, which is, it's like two metal pieces. The top is one and then the bottom is like crimped around it. And that sealant has come out. And then also sharpen the blade. Give it an oil change, give it some love. And then give it to my 11-year-old. Alright guys, hang in there. See you in the next one. Bye.